G'day legends, Cashy here from the Mock Sports, and we are back for another edition of Punt to the Future. If you're new here, it's the weekly segment here on the YouTube and our website, www.themocksports.com.au, where I go through my best Autumn Carnival futures bets. We go through, we see if we can find some edge on the market. Like last week, we had Animo running in the Chipping Norton Stakes. He ran around at $1.60, got up easily, but we managed to tip him at $2.40 a few weeks ago. So great edge there, 80-cent edge there. So you definitely cashed in there if you got on Animo when we told you to. He'll never be at $2 again, and we'll actually discuss that later on in the show. But enough chit-chat. Let's get into it, eh?
Oh, Crone's getting a split. Mizzy in front of the 100. Crone goes up the inside and Crone takes the lead into Gilmore. Crone draws clean out from Mizzy. It's a Queensland victory. Crone beats Mizzy.
All right, so I mentioned that Animo is never going to be at $2 again, apart from perhaps the Queen Elizabeth Stakes, because that's a very stacked field. But that's why our first bet of the day is going to be Animo in the George Ryder Stakes. $2.40 on Sportsbet currently. The reason I'm doing this, I've already played him in the Randwick Stakes at $2.60. He'll either be racing there or the George Ryder Stakes. They're on the same day. They're both on Golden Slipper Day. Trainer James Cummings has come out and said that they're actually not too sure whether it's going to be George Ryder or Randwick. I thought it was going to be Randwick, which is why I already played him. But now, just playing the George Ryder just in case he goes there, because if he races there, he wins, and he most likely starts $1.80, $1.70, $1.60, $1.50. So he's the best horse in the country by far. I don't think he loses if he races here. We're just doing it to cover. And on Sportsbet, of course, money back if he doesn't run with their punters futures insurance promotion, which is just great for a segment like this. So all bets are going to be on Sportsbet just in case they don't run. But that's pretty simple, straight to the point. First bet is Animo, just covering the George Ryder in case he goes there. Now, our second bet of the day, Fangirl in the I've said Doncaster Hotel. That is meant to say the Doncaster Mile. $7 to win on Sportsbet. Pretty keen on this one. I ask you this. If Fangirl hadn't been racing against Animo for most of her career, how many races would she have won? I reckon the answer would be quite a few more than she already has, including last week's Chipping Norton Stakes and probably the Apollo Stakes a couple of weeks back as well, where she's run second to him twice. So she's a very talented horse in her own right. If she gets a dry deck come Doncaster Day, I think she is head and shoulders above the rest of the field as the number one Australian seed. There is definitely a chance that I'll play on some of the international raiders that are coming over for this race, but not until I see them first up. So Alan Quare, Alcohol Free, a few others are going to be racing here. And if they do, I'll have to see them first up to see if they're worth a bet. But Fangirl, I think, is definitely the number one Australian seed. Even Aft Cabin, that's a talented horse, but I think Fangirl's better than Aft Cabin. I think Aft Cabin is a bit of an overhyped horse, whereas Fangirl, she's super genuine. She's going to put in a really strong run as long as it's dry. I've already played her in the Cornwall Classic for the same reasons, that she's always against the likes of Animo. But if she can somehow get away from Animo this prep, I just think she wins a big one. So I've played her now in all of the Group 1s where she's most likely not to come up against the Big A. So I think Fangirl is definitely a bet to have. $7 to win. I think she won't be starting that come race day, especially if some of the internationals don't go there. And if we get a dry deck, if we get a wet deck, she'll probably drift out to like $16. She can't go on the wet. But if we get a genuine good 4 on the day, Fangirl is the bet to be having in the Doncaster Mile, not the Doncaster Hotel. And finally, nice and quick today, we come to our last bet, King Frankel in the Sydney Cup, $9 to win on Sportsbet. Gee, we've just missed the boat on a massive price that was $26 to win. It's coming to $9 now, and for good reason. First up was super in the Parramatta Cup. I'll show you that start now, the final stages, just to see how strong of a run it was.
Harry Sound tries to get under his back. Coming around the turn, Banju, a narrow leader. Sticking to the task, King Frankel a length away. U-Spirit the inside and Sacramento the outside. Has he got the legs to keep going? Banju, the favourite's breathing down his neck now. King Frankel drawn level, a length off to U-Spirit. Sacramento's labouring now. It's Banju and King Frankel slugging it out. King Frankel trying his heart out, trying to get past Banju. King Frankel lifts, wins the Parramatta Cup in a great war down the straight. King Frankel ahead to Banju, who was game in defeat.
So as you can see there, King Frankel was in the white and blue, the Derby colours, chasing down leader Banju in the final stages, whereas Banju was using every ounce of energy he had to try and get out to that long distance for the first time, as well as stay in front to a chasing pack. King Frankel was able to motor up, come level with him, and then run strongly through the line. Of course, on the end there, it was a narrow victory, but he was still super strong through the line. He didn't use too much energy in the process. I think he's in for a big prep. The reason I didn't tip him on that day and I tipped Banju is because I thought Banju would have that fitness edge. He was about 4, 5, 6 races deep, whereas King Frankel first up over the long distance. I wasn't quite sure that if he'd be fit enough to get there, but he proved me very wrong there. Absolutely did it with plenty of energy in the tank, like I said. So I think he's got massive scope for improvement over this prep. I think he's in for a massive prep, and I think he's in for a group race win this preparation and potentially this Group 1 of a Sydney Cup. I just think he's probably at a price that I can entertain. I think he'll shorten come race day if he has one or two more runs where he runs strongly, and I think he will. But the big kicker here for me is the fact that the weight he's going to be carrying. He's only going to be carrying 50 kilos if he runs here, and that's absolutely nothing. That's complete feathers. Compared to a Gold Trip, who would be the number 1 seed for this race, who will carry 59.5, maybe even 60 kilos, Frankel will have a 10-kilo weight swing on him. So I don't think that you should rule out King Frankel just because he's more inexperienced and he's way down in the ballot. He has to get from 53rd in the ballot up to the top 20 in the ballot to try and get a start because it's a field of 20 with 4 emergencies. So if he's to get a start final field, he needs to get in the final 20 of the ballot. And I think he'll do so if he does put in 2 more strong efforts before race day. But like I said, sports bet, money back if he doesn't run. But I think, he is one to follow going forward. I'm going to be on him just about every start until he gets there. And with 50 kilos on his back come race day, I think he's the one to watch. He'll absolutely fly down the Randwick Straight. So I'm definitely keen to be playing King Frankel here. All right, that brings us to an end for Punt of the Future this week. Nice and quick. We like to keep these episodes under 10 minutes. We've had a few bets already. Our next one is probably Private Eye, and the new market will be the next one to come up, which is, I believe, next week. So I think Private Eye is a good bet to have there. He's still at $7 if you want to go get him on Sportsbet. I wish I win the clear favourite after that incredible run in the Lightning Stakes. But Private Eye first up down the Flemington Straight, 1,200 metres. He's smashed them before, and I think he can potentially smash them again. $7 is definitely a price I want to have in Private Eye, so I'll definitely be sticking fat with that bet. Other bets we've had elsewhere is Dunkel in the Australian Derby. He's $50 into $11, and I'm really keen to see that horse run around the Australian Derby. And, of course, again, doesn't run, money back thanks to that punter's insurance. So we've had a stack of bets already. We're adding 3 bets to that now. We'll be back next week for even more. So make sure to tune in here on the YouTube channel. And if you want more reasoning behind the bets, and if you want to go back and see all the bets we've made so far, head to www.themocksports.com.au, where you can see all of the punting tips I've made for the Autumn Carnival, as well as any upcoming tips. They're all going to be posted there. Saturday rundowns for the Sydney cards, the Melbourne cards. We might even add some Perth cards as well. Futures bets, multis, it's all there. Your one-stop shop for punting and sports content. Head to themocksports.com.au right now. And if you want to listen to the weekly podcast, me and Nick are absolutely flying on the quaddy potty right now. We've got 7 wins from the week before, and then last weekend we hit 6 big winners as well. So we're absolutely flying. You're going to want to tune in. It's going to come out this Thursday night. The Quaddy Potty, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all major streaming services. You can find us there if you want to tune into that. But until then, punters, I'll see you next week for more Punt of the Future.